Tampere is a city in Finland and the regional capital of Pirkanmaa. It is located in the Finnish lakeland. The population of Tampere is approximately 260,000, while the metropolitan area has a population of approximately 423,000. It is the third most populous municipality in Finland and the second most populous urban area in the country after the Helsinki metropolitan area. Tampere is the most populous inland city in the Nordic countries. The urban area has a population of approximately 340,000.
Tampere is considered to be the most important urban, economic, and cultural center in the whole of inland Finland. Tampere and its surroundings are part of the historic province of Satakunta. The area belonged to the province of Hiim from 1831 to 1997. Over time, it has often been considered a province of Tavastia.
For example, in Kirja, published in the 1960s, the Tampere subregion is presented as part of the then province of Tavastia. However, between 1775 and 1870, Tamarkowski Rapids was a border between regions Hiim and Turku and Pori. The city were located at the eastern side of the rapids. The west bank was attached to the rest of the city in 1876. Around the 1950s, Tampere and its surroundings began to establish themselves as a separate province of Pirkanmaa. Tampere became the center of Pirkanmaa, and Tamarmal was also used several times in the early days of the province. For example, in the Suomi-Käsikirja published in 1968. Tampere is wedged between two lakes, Lake Sijärvi and Lake Pyjärvi, with an 18 meters 59 feet difference in water level, and the rapids that connect them, Tamarkowski, have been an important source of power throughout history, most recently for generating electricity. Tampere is known as the Manchester of the North because of its past as a center of Finnish industry, which has given rise to its Finnish nickname Mans, and terms such as Mansarock. Tampere has also been officially declared the sauna capital of the world 17 because it has the most public saunas in the world. Helsinki is about 160 kilometers 100 miles south of Tampere and can be reached by Pendolino high-speed train in 1 hour 31 minutes and by car in 2 hours. The distance to Turku, the third most populous urban area in the country after Helsinki and Tampere, is about the same. The Tampere-Pirkkala airport is the 8th busiest airport in Finland, with more than 230,000 passengers using it in 2017. Tampere is also an important transit route for 3 Finnish highways, Highway 312, Highway 963 and Highway 12. The Tampere Light Rail had 2 lines when it started operating in 2021. Tampere is ranked 26th in the list of 446 hipster cities in the world and is often rated as the most popular city in Finland. The positive development of Tampere and the Tampere metropolitan area has continued into the 21st century, largely due to the fact that Tampere is one of the most attractive cities in Finland. In 2023, Tampere won the first prize at the Smart City World Congress in Barcelona, competing in the category of enabling technologies, while also receiving recognition for the use of technological solutions for the benefit of residents and businesses. Although the name Tampere derives from the Tamarkowski Rapids, both the city and the rapids are called Tammerfors in Swedish. The origin of the Tammer part of the name has been the subject of much debate. Antti accepts the straightforward etymology of Rakkanen and Haikal in Proto-Samic * temple Kosku, * temple meaning deep, slow part of a stream, and * Kosku rapids related to the Finnish Koski, which has become the most accepted explanation in academia, according to the Institute for the Languages of Finland. Other theories include that it comes from the Swedish word damber, meaning mill dam. Another is that it comes from the ancient Scandinavian words wamber fat-bellied and wambian swollen belly, possibly referring to the shape of the rapids. Another suggestion links the name to the Swedish word Kottemberdager, or more colloquially Tamperdager, which refers to the ember days of the Western Christian liturgical calendar. The Finnish word for oak, tammi, has also been suggested. Although Tampere is outside the natural range of the European oak, Tampere was the center of many important political events in the early 20th century, such as the 1905 Conference of the Russian Social Democratic Labor Party RSDLP, led by Vladimir Lenin, held in the Tampere Workers' Hall during their flight from Russia, where it was decided, among other things, to launch an armed insurrection that eventually led to the October 1917 revolution in the Russian Empire. Also, on the 1st of November 1905, during the general strike, the famous Red Declaration was proclaimed in Keskistori after Finland gained its full independence. Tampere played an important role in the 1918 Civil War, being one of the most strategically important places for the Finnish Socialist Workers' Republic FSWR. During the Finnish Civil War, the 28th of January, the 15th of May 1918. The city was the most important industrial city in Finland at the beginning of the 20th century, with a huge working population. 13 to 14 Tampere was a Red stronghold during the war, commanded by Hugo Salmela. White forces led by General Mannerheim captured the city after the Battle of Tampere, taking about 10,000 Red prisoners on the 6th of April 1918. During the Winter War, Tampere was bombed several times by the Soviet Union. The reason for the bombing of Tampere was that the city was an important railway junction and was also home to the state aircraft factory and the Tampere factory, which produced ammunition and weapons, including grenade launchers. The most devastating bombing took place on the 2nd of March 1940, when 9 people were killed and 30 wounded. In addition, 10 buildings were destroyed and 30 damaged that day. Tampere is part of the Pirkanmaa region and is surrounded by the municipalities of Kangasala, Lempölkki, Nokia, Orivesi, Pirkkala, Ruovesi and Iljärvi. There are 180 lakes larger than 10,000 square meters, 110,000 square feet in Tampere, and freshwater bodies cover 24% of the city's total area. 16 The lakes were formed as separate basins from Lake Anselus about 7,500 to 8,000 years ago. The northernmost point of Tampere is in the Vankavisi Fjord of Taisko, the southernmost at the eastern end of Lake Hervanta, the easternmost at the northeast corner of Lake Paljärvi of Taisko, and the westernmost at the southeast corner of Lake Hakkajärvi near the borders of Iljärvi and Nokia. The city center itself is surrounded by 3 lakes, Sijärvi, Paijärvi and the much smaller Edusjärvi. The Tampere region lies in the basin of the Kokemki River, which flows into the Bothnian Sea through Pori, the capital of the Satakunta region. Tampere's bedrock consists of mica schist and migmatite, 87, and its building stone deposits are diverse. In addition to the traditional granite, there is an abundance of quartz diorite, tonalite, mica schist, and mica gneiss. One of Tampere's most striking geographical features is the Piniki Ridge Pienikin Harju, a large esker formed from moraine during the Weichselian glaciation. It rises 160 meters 520 feet above sea level and is said to be the largest gravel esker in the world. It rises 160 meters 520 feet above sea level and is said to be the largest gravel esker in the world. 89 It is also part of Salpausselkag, a 200 kilometers 120 miles long bridge system left over from the Ice Age. 89. Aerial view of the city center of Tampere Keskusta and the Tamarkowski Rapids passing through it. The center of Tampere Keskusta and the districts of Piniki, Ilpispala and Elapispala lie on the isthmus between Lakes Pyjarvi and Sijärvi. The location of the city on the edge of the Tamarkowski Rapids between two long waterways was one of the main reasons for its foundation in the 1770s. 90. The streets of central Tampere form a typical grid pattern. On the western edge of the city center is a north-south park road, Haminpuisto Heim Park or Devastia Park, which runs from the shore of Lake Pyjarvi near Lake Sijärvi. The wide Haminkatu Road runs east-west from Tampere Central Station to Haminpuisto and crosses Tamarkowski along the Haminsilta Bridge. Also along Haminkatu is the longest street in the city center, Satakunnankatu, which runs from Rautatienkaatu to Amori and crosses Tamarkowski via the Satakunnansilta Bridge. Tampere's central square is located on the western bank of Tamarkowski, near Haminsilta. The traffic center of Tampere is the junction of Itsenesi Denkatu, Itaiskanti, Samankatu, Kalavanpuisto Park Road and the Kalave and Lysenkalio districts. The city of Tampere is divided into 7 statistical areas, each of which includes the many districts and their suburbs. In total, there are 111 statistical areas in Tampere. However, the statistical areas created for Tampere's statistics do not fully correspond to the division of Tampere's districts or to the way residents perceive the districts. For example, Kitgulg and Tamala are divided into 2 parts in accordance with the official district division, and Lysenkalio and Kalavanran are often considered to belong to the district of Kalava. Tampere has a humid continental climate DFB with clearly defined 4 seasons. The climate of Tampere Perkala Airport, which is located away from the city center, borders on the subarctic climate zone Köppen climate classification DFC. Winters are cold and the average temperature from December to February is below 3 degrees Celsius 27 degrees Fahrenheit and it can reach to 30 degrees Celsius 22 degrees Fahrenheit. Summers are cool to warm. The average snow cover lasts for 5 months from late November to early April. Given the high latitude and inland location, winters are on average quite mild for the latitude, as is the average annual temperature. Tampere has buildings from many architectural periods. The old stone church of Mesukilp is the only example of medieval architecture. Neoclassicism from the early 19th century is represented by the old church of Tampere and its bell tower. The Gothic Revival buildings in Tampere that evolved from Neoclassicism are the new church of Mesukilp and the Alexander Church, while the Renaissance Revival buildings are Hatamp Umlaut Manor, Tampere City Hall, Ruskinen House and Selina. Romantic nationalism can be seen in the Commerce House, the Turkinen House, the Palantir House, the Tampere Cathedral, the Tampere Central Fire Station and the Tampere National Bank building. The use of red brick as a building material in the industrial buildings along Tamarkowski, such as the Finlayson and Tampella factories, has left a strong imaginary mark on the city. The post-Art Nouveau was largely Nordic, with the Leiku House of Culture, the Hotel Tamer, the Tulensu House and the Vinica Church built in Tampere. After functionalism became the dominant style in the 1930s, Tampere Central Station, Tempo House, a bus station and Kauppi Hospital were built in Tampere. There is no single accepted term for the post-war style, but the main representatives of the Reconstruction period are the Bank of Finland building, the Amurinlana building and the Piniki swimming pool. The rationalist buildings of the modernist period are represented by the University of Tampere, Tampere Central Hospital, Sampola, the School of Economics, Ratina Stadium and Kaleva Church. 99 The modernist buildings include the Metso Main Library, the Hervanta Operations Center, the Tampere Hall, the University Extension and the Nokia Office Building in Hatamp umlaut. The center of Tampere and its western parts have been developed in a more modern direction since the 2010s. 101 and the city aims to have the center in its future form by the 2030s. In particular, plans have been drawn up for the area around the central railway station in the form of the Tampere Deck project, which includes a new multi-purpose arena and high-rise buildings in the area. A light rail network has also recently been built in the city center. Artificial island projects are planned on the shores of the lakes, which would create new residential areas for several thousand people. The projects are estimated to cost several billion euros. The comprehensive education is given mainly in Finnish, but the city has special bilingual groups where students study in Finnish and a second language English, French or German. Furthermore, there is a private Swedish-speaking school in the Kockenma district, Swedish Svenska Samskolan I Tammerfors, that covers all levels of education from preschool to high school. There are 3 institutions of higher education in the Tampere area totaling 40,000 students, the university and 2 polytechnic institutions Finnish, Ammattikorkeakoulu. Tampere University Tuni has over 20,000 students and is located in 2 campuses, one in the Kalevanharju district, close to the city center, and one in Hervanta, in the southern part of the city. The institution was formed in 2019 as a result of the merge of University of Tampere UTA